Hi everyone, my name is Mikaela Farhart and I'm in Amazon Global Selling Team based in Sydney, and I'm really excited for you to join our third webinar as part of our 8-part series. If you didn't get to watch our last webinar, go back and have a look at setting up your Amazon selling account, and this will cover off answers on questions such as key considerations pre-listing, key information for brand owners, funding opportunities to help grow your business. So pretty exciting topics there. However, today we are going to focus on creating your first listing. As always, the purpose of our team is to help you as sellers to be able to successfully launch on Amazon.com and Amazon.com.au. We specialize in creating educational resources like today for you and guiding you to the most relevant information that you need to be successful. So in today's webinar, we'll be looking at these 3 topics. So firstly, it's key listing considerations, creating your listings, and then how do we actually improve our listings to ensure that they're quality and they have the best chance of success on Amazon. So let's get into it. So if you missed our previous webinar, here is just a quick summary of things to consider before you create your first listing, as we should always ensure that we are most prepared before we embark on the listing creation. So have a look at the 4 pieces of criteria that you need to consider. Firstly, you want to understand if your products require approval, and both in Australia and the US, we have quite prescriptive rules on Amazon in terms of what the requirements are. So it's always important to either look at Seller Central in just the search bar on top of the Seller Central dashboard. You can search for any categories and we'll have relevant knowledge articles that appear underneath that. So if you want to search baby products, for example, to understand what requirements, you can do that in both Australia and the US, and we will have the relevant requirements for each of those stores. Secondly, as well, you could look at a third-party expert as well. So as we have mentioned previously, and as we will discuss today, we have a service provider network where we have a lot of well-trained third-party account managers or third-party resources that you can leverage as well for guidance. Or you can also just go through the add a product, and on the right-hand side of your selling application, there will actually be a lock icon, and that will indicate what you need to provide in order for you to unlock that category or product in order to create that listing and be approved to sell on Amazon AU or US. The second as well is, as I touched on before, just requesting approval to sell those products. So you can always, so once you raise that application through the lock icon, or you read the information before, they might have other relevant guidance that you need to follow. It's all typically through Seller Central, however. You can request an appeal. So that would be through typically through the product compliance tab, through the account health, or that would be through seller support as well. So that's always there as a resource if you are unsure about your next step and need some further guidance on what to do. The third is submitting the right documentation for approval. And I guess that's where looking at the first step on Seller Central or speaking to the relevant people to understand what is required initially to ensure that you have everything ready to go, so that you know who the relevant body you need to get approval from, or whether you need a manufacturer's invoice and what length of time does that invoice have to sit within. It's typically within 180 days. And then again, product images or testing documents as well. So just making sure you have all your ducks in a row before you then request to be approved. And lastly, listing products under your brand name. So again, you cannot list a product with your brand name unless you have brand registry. We typically recommend, if you can, be approved on brand registry before creating your listings. It does save a bit of time and then changing from generic to brand name after you create the listing in Seller Central. So having a look at that if you have an approved trademark in both AU or US to get brand registered before If you don't have a trademark but you'd like to use a brand name, that is absolutely fine. You can also request to use your brand name if you don't have a trademark via sales support. And typically you'll create a case and ask that you'd like your brand name to be linked to your ASIN, and they'll ask for a photo of your brand name affixed to a product. And it has to be a photo of the product, either you're holding it or it's on the table, and it has to be clear quality images as well. So that's as well how you can add your brand name, but definitely important if you're a brand owner to make sure that you're representing your brand in the best possible way. And of course, we encourage brand registry. We'll also be discussing brand registry later in this series. So if you are a brand owner, definitely stay tuned for that to come out, as we'll be going through some really good content. So what do you need to do before you create your listing, and what considerations do we have? So we can see on the slide here, we have two facets or two considerations that we need to look into. The first is you can add it through your product ID. So that's option one. And product IDs are a part of a universal system called GTINs, also known as Global Trade Identification System. And this is the way that most goods are managed and tracked. And they take in the form of UPCs, EANs, JANs, and ISBNs. GTINs also ensure products are uniquely identified while being bought and sold, and help sort and track items in transit. In most instances, you'll need to provide a GTIN when you create a new product detail page on Amazon. If you already do have these, that's excellent, you're ahead of the game. If you don't, that's perfectly fine as well. You can buy your barcodes through gs1.org. Happy to share that link in the chat as well if you're wanting to get that link. And these barcodes will identify your company as the brand owner of that product. Just be sure to purchase as many barcodes as you have products. For example, a t-shirt in 4 sizes will require 4 unique GTINs as well. So just always keeping in mind that you have enough barcodes for those products. Option 2, if you are a brand owner and don't want to purchase a GS1 barcode, you may be able to apply for a GTIN exemption to list your products. If you apply for a GTIN exemption but plan to use fulfillment by Amazon, for example, you can download Amazon barcodes to track your inventory when you send it into the fulfillment center. These can be downloaded from Seller Central for free through the Send to Amazon workflow. We will discuss more on Amazon barcodes in our sessions on fulfillment by Amazon, but for now, this is all you need to know. I've also shared a link in the chat on how to list products that do not have a product ID in Australia. So I'll send that through now. And I can see we have, oh yeah, I can see it's already been sent through, so that's excellent. And as well, forgetting to mention, if you have any questions, please send them through to the team here. We have a team standby ready to answer your questions. So we want to make this as interactive as possible, so please send any questions through the chat. Okay. So with that covered, now we can add some products, right? So let's look at the first way we can do so, which is via one by one. If you want to sell a product that already exists on Amazon, you will need to match your offer to the existing listing. So this is often known as matching a listing. So to link your product to the existing listing, please search the product name, GS1 barcode, or ASIN in that search bar. Keep in mind that to match an existing listing, your product must be an exact match, including brand name, color, size, and quantity. And typically, if you are selling a prominent product or a prominent brand, this will all be covered typically in your selling application, as Seller Central will recognize what you are intending to sell, and typically say you're requesting to sell a brand, you'll need brand approval from that manufacturer, or a certain product will need that approval as well. So just ensuring that, again, you've done that earlier, so therefore this will be an easy thing to do once you actually have got those approvals, and you will just add it via that product name that's already existing on Amazon. Alternatively, if you add a product that's not already sold on the Amazon store, you will be creating a new listing for that product, so a new listing and a new ASIN. So that would be through starting by adding a single product that isn't already sold in the Amazon store. So as you can see in the slide here, the orange box is highlighting that exactly. So it's currently not sold on Amazon. So we should note here that to add a single product not currently listed in the Amazon store, this is where you'll need that product ID or G10 exemption that we discussed or just previously in our previous slide, so just flagging that in mind. When you're creating a new product listing, you'll first need to select the product category you'd like to list in. And this is really important that you get this right initially, as it's quite hard to go back and change. So just making sure that you are choosing the right category at this point in time. You can search categories using the search bar up top or browse a list of categories below if you're not really sure where that product would initially sit. And also keep in mind that in different stores, for example, they might have slightly different categories. So just ensuring if you are looking at expanding that you ensure what categories are relevant to your product in the different country marketplaces. After selecting your relevant category and subcategory, you'll be asked to provide more product details and information on that as well. So how do we actually add the product information once we've selected our category and added the barcode? Well, first you'll find the Vital Info tab and be sure to activate the More Attributes toggle in the top right to see all the available fields as well. Under this tab, you'll be able to include the product name, a product ID, and other important information. The product name field will display as a title within a product detail page. And brand name and manufacturer and other details will also appear below any variations as the key info section of a product detail page. Providing product photos under the Images tab will display in the right here, and these will display on the left-hand side of the product detail page. Remember that your first image must be on a white background and should be a high quality picture that shows the product in full. This will be the image that the shoppers see when searching and browsing, so it's important it's consistent with all other listings as well. You could be liable to be search suppressed if you do not have the white background as your main image. So just keeping that in mind, it's quite critical. So we're getting to the description part of creating the listing, which is super important. So under description, you'll want to provide a summary of your product in the field labeled product description. This product description displays midway down a product detail page. A lot of sellers may get confused that the product description is the key words or the key bullet points right next to the left-hand side of the images, but there's actually below the midway. So just keeping that in mind, but you again want to provide details and above customer reviews. So as best practice, aim to create the most comprehensive product listing as possible. This ensures that customers are able to make informed purchases and have all the necessary info to feel confident purchasing your product. This means filling out as many of the product detail information as possible, and as well ensuring you've got those key features as well. The next field, CPSIA warning, allows you to nominate if your product or part of your product is hazardous, i.e. a choking hazard. So that's really important to flag, especially if you're dealing with certain products that are relevant to children, always important to do so. And then, as I touched on before, adding product keywords. In the keyword section, you can add identifying information to help show your product to the most relevant audience. And that will relay back once you start creating ad campaigns later down the track. I suggest you search for keywords in Seller Central help to read more tips on how to effectively create keywords to drive discoverability of your product. Finally, remember that different categories and subcategories can have different fields when adding new products. Check each section and ensure that you've added as much detail as possible. Also, be sure that you've matched your product to the most relevant product category or subcategory. This will help display your product within the relevant Amazon search results. So as I mentioned before, it is really crucial getting that product category spot on. If you need any more guidance on how to create your listings one by one, search for Create Listings One by One in Seller Central Help, again, through the search bar in the Seller Central dashboard. And that's always very relevant for you. And of course, if you're matching an exact listing, then you do not need to go through these steps, which is quite helpful. Now, it's great to understand how to create listings one by one, but I have a lot of listings. So how do I create them in bulk? So this is how we're going to touch on that for the bulk uploads. So step one, you want to download an inventory file. So to upload your products en masse, you'll first need to download through a bulk Amazon inventory file. To download the correct file, you'll need to specify what product category and subcategory that you intend to sell in, which marketplace you want to sell in, and select the type of template. So we do have different languages available, so English, Chinese, advanced, and custom to download. I recommend downloading the advanced one. All the instructions on how to fill out the sheet are actually included in the first sheet of that download in that Excel spreadsheet. If you have your own e-commerce site or use another system to manage your product information, you can also export your product details into a file via Excel, text, or CSV format, which is quite handy. Once you've updated your inventory file, you will need to upload this in Seller Central. Please toggle across to the Upload Your Inventory File tab, as highlighted in this image, and add your file. You can also add your email to send an alert once the upload is complete, or select Monitor Upload Status tab to view your upload. If you need any more guidance on how to create your listings in bulk, search for Create Listings in Bulk in Seller Central Help. Again, they're always to help you. So great, now we have covered on how to upload your listings one by one and in bulk. And let's talk about one of the most common challenges, which is variations. So what are listing variations? Professional sellers can add product variations one by one or in bulk, which is a great way to provide customers a variety that they love. For example, a tote bag that comes in 2 different sizes, or a granola bar that comes in 5 flavors. Good variation relationship listings allow buyers to compare and choose products based on different attributes such as size, color, and other characteristics from the available options on a single product detail page. If your products fulfill the following requirements, typically they are a good candidate for a variation. So the products are fundamentally the same. The products vary only in a few very specific ways. Buyers expect to find those products together, and products could share a single title. For more information on this as well, please search listing variations in Seller Central, as they do specify in a bit more detail on these 4 key areas. But again, always ask yourself, if I was a customer, what would I want to see in a listing? Then how do we actually create the variations? So let's say we decide that we are going to sell granola bars and they have these 4 flavors there, and also comes in different packs as well. So you've got the granola bars that come in 2 sizes, a 6-pack and a 12-pack with 2 flavors, honey and chocolate. Altogether, there are 4 physical product options that can be linked to one Amazon product page. In this example, there are 4 child items that are mapped to a parent item and held together by the variation theme that was chosen. Note that the parent item is not the physical item for sale. If the parent item was associated from the child items, the child items become their own standalone listing. So therefore, by creating the parent ASIN, you have the several child ASINs that can sit on the same product detail page, and therefore it's very easy for the customer to then flick through the different variations easily. You can create a parent and child items by using the Add a Product tool in Seller Central, or in bulk by following the steps that we just went through on bulk uploads. Remember, you will need a separate barcode for each variation. Unfortunately, you cannot create multiple variants under the one code. Again, if you don't have a product ID, you will need to apply for a G10 exemption before creating a listing, or purchase one from GS1. If you need more support, there are great a few great seller university videos on this. So please search create a product variation or create product variations in bulk. Again, we should be linking these in the chat so you have them readily available as well. Perfect. So now that we have reviewed how to create a listing one by one in bulk and as a variation, let's touch on some more common listing issues that sellers make and how we can avoid them. So what can we do if we encounter the following issues along your journey to creating listings? The first common issue is with images being suppressed. A common issue that we see is the suppressed images, and this is often because the images are not high resolution or are not a white background. Again, referring to Seller Central articles and searching in the search bar is a great way to just double check and ensure that you're following the requirements. If you can't see your listing on the Amazon store, firstly, try to search for your listing in incognito mode. For example, sometimes if you're selling in the US and you're searching from an Australian, New Zealand server, and Amazon thinks you're a customer based in ANZ and won't show you a product if it isn't set to export to Australia/New Zealand. To check that this is the case and the listing is still visible, try searching for your product on incognito or on your browser. Alternatively, if this doesn't work, you can try troubleshoot your listing by check parent ASIN, so checking that there's no issues there and actually putting the ASIN in the search bar. And if no browse node, in order to be searchable, ASINs should be assigned to a browse node. So a browse node should be like a shelf in a supermarket. Your product needs to be on a shelf in order to be found. Unassigned ASINs are not indexed by Amazon search, and there might be no offer. In order to be searchable, an ASIN needs to offer a price. If an ASIN's offer expires, this would cause it to become unsearchable. To add an offer to a product, you need to supply data such as an item price, quantity, and launch date as well. There could also be an issue regarding future date launch. So a common reason that this is unsearchable, so an ASIN being unsearchable, is because the date is in the future. In other words, it is not possible to prior the product. We also have provided a troubleshoot listing link for both the US and AU as well, so you can refer to more detail. The third issue typically is that there's a blocked listing. So you'll generally be notified that a product category needs approval prior to adding your offer. However, Amazon may block or restrict your product post-listing creation if they believe it is a restricted item. This is usually triggered by certain keywords or phrases. If this occurs, you will be notified that your listing has been suppressed and will be prompted to provide documentation proving it is or isn't a restricted product. What you need in order to sell varies per restricted category, but is generally a combination of your photos, product, and an invoice. Please contact seller support for guidance if you are stuck here. Again, we're providing the links and relevant links in Seller Central in both US and AU, so you can refer to those. Updating titles and attributes. So one of the main common issues is that you may upload a title upon initial creation. However, you now decided that you'd like to shorten it or you'd like to change it. You may have brand registry now and you'd like to take the brand name out of the title. You can update the listing attributes post-listing creation by clicking on the edit icon to the right of your listing. If you want to update your brand name post-listing creation, you will need to contact seller support and provide supporting documentation for your brand name change. As mentioned before, providing photos of your product with your brand name permanently affixed to the item. So you may be asking, I now know what to be mindful of, but how can I improve my listing quality? So let's have a look at the key considerations. There are 5 key components to improving your product detail page. They've got the detail page itself, the delivery experience, price, brand registry, and advertising. So let's have a quick look at each component and a few rules for submitting high quality content. So first, any product you sell on Amazon needs a title or product name. A good title describes the product clearly and succinctly and helps drive traffic to your listing. You'll want to follow our 4 basic rules for product titles. Include the brand and product type. Capitalize the first letter of each word that isn't a preposition, a conjunction, or article. Be as concise as possible. And finally, for product variations or child products, include color, size, and other descriptive information. Images are the second key component of a product detail page. They grab the attention of a customer and provide visual information about a product. Every product detail page on Amazon requires at least one main image which is displayed as customers search. We recommend adding other images and a video perhaps to show the product in use at different angles or with different features. So it's really important, as we can see here with the Bose example, they have a range of different content to entice the customer, to let the customer visualize the product and how it would work for them, and just improve that visualization process and ensure that they're engaged with your product. You'll also want to follow 5 basic rules for good images. Show the product against a white background. As we've discussed before, this is really key. Have the product fill 85% or more of the frame. Use professional photographs whenever possible. Again, we have a service provider network where you can find professionals who will do photographs for you. Use images that are 1600 pixels or more on the longest side to enable zoom, and upload JPEG files if possible, or TIFF or static GIF files if necessary. Now, moving on to the product description. If your listing is new and you're creating a product detail from scratch, make sure that your listings are as detailed as possible and align with Amazon guidelines to maximize SEO. You can find an example of an ideal Amazon listing here. Notice the images, detailed bullet points, and also the video content and A+ content. And this again is only available to brand owners only. So for all the brand owners, please ensure that you're looking into brand registry, as it is a great tool. On this note, make sure you're registered. So as well as that, you want to describe major features like a size and style and detail, or illustrate how the product can be used. So you'll want to follow 3 basic rules. Use complete sentences. You still want it to be concise, but should use full sentences broken into short paragraphs so it's digestible for the potential customer. Include dimensions, care instructions, and warranty information, and discuss features and benefits of the product, focusing on its unique properties. Again, with the images content, we have provided links in the chat below, and as well as titles as well. Delivery experience and speed is important not only in providing an excellent customer experience, but also boosting your search discoverability. Fulfillment by Amazon, or also known as FBA, gives you more time to focus on your business by managing the storage, pick, pack, and shipment of your inventory. In Australia, Amazon Prime members love free expedited shipping on Prime eligible orders, and all amazon.com.au customers enjoy free Australian shipping on eligible orders over $39. Pretty good. Alternatively, if you are interested in expanding to the US, there are millions of Prime members living in the US, all of whom have become accustomed to the 2-day free shipping on their Amazon orders. With Fulfillment by Amazon, your products are listed with the Prime promise, typically the 2-day free shipping, and on all US customer inquiries, returns, and refunds are handled by our world-class customer service team. Visit your local Selling on Amazon site to learn more about FBA, or alternatively search for Fulfillment by Amazon in Seller Central Help to learn more, or even better, watch our upcoming Amazon Fulfillment webinar where we will go through this in detail. Setting competitive pricing. Pricing is one of the main contributing factors to a customer's ultimate decision as to whether they purchase from you or another seller. Whether you are a brand owner selling a new exciting product or a reseller offering a product that already exists on Amazon, consider your pricing strategy and how competitive your price is against your competitors. If your product is already sold on Amazon, the Automate pricing tool can support you to move fast, automatically change your prices in response to events you choose, keeping them sharp in a dynamic environment and not meaning that you have to monitor it yourself. Price competitively, potentially increase your likelihood of being the featured offer. Stay in control, safely price between the minimum and maximum price guardrails you set. And do more. Automate pricing decisions to give yourself more time to focus on other important aspects of your business. You can find more information on this in Seller Central by searching for the Automate pricing tool. And then enrolling in brand registry. Along with brand IP protections, brand registered sellers have additional options for analytics, advertising, influencing product detail pages. Some of the key benefits include A+ content. As I highlighted before through the example product listing, it's a great way to highlight a product and improve the quality of the detail page. Again, as well, sponsored brands target by keywords to help shoppers discover and engage with your brand specifically, so they have a greater brand awareness. And then we have brand stores, a self-service product that lets you create a dedicated destination for your brand. Vine, which is only relevant to the US, puts your products in the hands of Amazon reviewers that Amazon has invited to participate in Vine, which is a great way for new sellers to generate reviews. Brand analytics, access to search term reporting, repeat purchase orders, market-based reports and item comparison, and alternative purchases and behavior reports. Watch our Optimizing Your Account webinar for more details on Amazon Brand Registry, or search Amazon Brand Registry online to visit the Brand Registry website, which has a lot of content on these in more detail. And then lastly, the key one is boosting your discoverability on Amazon by using our many advertising tools to optimize your traffic, generate more sales, and get the right insights as well. As a new seller, I strongly recommend starting with sponsored products and coupons. Sponsored ads help customers find your products by quickly creating ads that appear in related shopping results and product pages. Simply set your campaign duration, decide which keywords or products to target, and choose the products you want to advertise. We then have coupons. Create coupons to offer discounts on your products. Sellers typically see an uplift in sales as it incentivizes purchase. You can also offer discounts on a single product or a set of products and enjoy automatic merchandising for your coupon through Amazon. Search for sponsored ads or coupons in Seller Central Help to learn more, or watch our upcoming webinar Growing Your Business, which will discuss this. And if you need some extra help, Amazon also has a few other resources you should find helpful, which we want to present to you today. To help you get started, you can learn more about Amazon and how to navigate Seller Central via Seller University. This is a free tool that you can have access to instruction videos, both via the Amazon platform and also via YouTube. Seller University covers the end-to-end seller experience with guidance on listing, to how to set up fulfillment by Amazon, to how to launch an advertising campaign. So if you need any more information after this session, Seller University should be your first stop. Remember that you can also search for information within Seller Central, as I've been mentioning throughout this webinar. Just look up your question in the search bar at the top of your Seller Central page and scroll through the drop-down menu to find the right article for you. The information here is also localized to the global store you are searching in, so make sure you search within the relevant store. If it is in Australia, search in Australia, and vice versa, the US or any other store. And as well, we also have other additional support providers. So remember, if you need more, you can visit Seller Support So seeking further support on particularly technical issues or inquiries via the sales support team. You can go and contact them via clicking on the help button in the top right hand corner on Seller Central, and then clicking on the Get Support tab, and you can actually describe your issue within the text box that's available to you, and then from there Seller Support will generate relevant or common issues that come up, and you can select from there. We've also got the seller provider network. So this portal connects you to third-party service providers, as touched on earlier, that can help you with a number of services that are related to Amazon. So that can be anywhere from tax, compliance, logistics, and paid account management. So definitely worth a look there. And that's also available for Australia and the US as well. And we've finally got sell.amazon.com.au. which is we have a tab there with events that you can follow and learn about our upcoming webinars and any other events that we have, as well as that we have recorded sessions. So you can actually revisit this at any given time and just go and scroll to that piece of the webinar that you needed help on and go from there. So it's quite handy.